Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of DIY and Craftify, where today we are going to be making one of those dog scarf collar things. Man, I really need to come up with a word for that. Dog... They're like the collar bandanas. Maybe I should look it up. Let's look it up. It could be a dog scarf, it could be a dog bandana. Whatever. More or less, the idea is we're gonna make a dog scarf that attaches to the collar. So it's not a separate entity. It's going to go on the collar. And I'll show you what my dog's current one looks like, because that's what we're gonna use for a pattern, because I do like that one. Might make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit more prominent, because my dog's real fluffy. So it's really hard to see when she's wearing it. I guess moral of the story is I don't have a plan. So let's get started. Okay, you guys, so let's get planning. So what it looks like is more or less just like a little triangle. And then it's got this straight edged part that goes around the collar. So the collar goes in here. And then circles back around, yada yada. Wow, I just got really detailed about that collar for some reason. So this is the bandana, and right now she's got one that has stripes on it, so whatever, stripes. I think I was actually inspired to do a double-sided one because I have these two really cute fabrics that are left over from other projects that I've done. And the nice part about these is that they're very like thick. They are, what do you call those? Like kind of like upholstery fabric. I really like the two of these. They're very contrasting patterns, so I think it would be very distracting to have both of them showing at the same time. Like the one that she has now, because the one she has now has this little flap that comes out of the side, and it's cute, and but it's a solid color, so it doesn't really contrast with it very much. But I think what I'm gonna do with these two fabrics is I'm gonna make it reversible, so I can have a front and a back, and then I can flip it however I'm feeling that day, or however she seems to be feeling that day, because I really like both of these. And could I make two separate scarves? Yes, I could make two separate scarves. We have the technology to make this reversible. So we will do both of these, and hopefully it looks cute. If not, you learned from me. So in order to get our measurements for our scarf, we'll make this picture a little bit bigger. And then measure out this part. I'm gonna go chase down my dog and get the scarf off of her. So let's go do that. There she is. Hello, sweet pea. See, there's her scarf. You can see it. So let's get her inside. Coco, no! Korra, I need your scarf. Come back. I need your scarf. I need your scarf. Come back. I need your scarf. Can I have it? Can I have your scarf? No? Do you like your scarf? Well, it's so dirty. Look how dirty it is. Your scarf's dirty. Can I have it? Can I have your scarf? Please? Can I have your scarf? I'm gonna come get it. I'm gonna come get it. Where is it? Where's the... There it is. Boop. Oh, you're all naked now. You're all naked now. I know. You're a naked doggy. Naked doggy. Okay. We've got the scarf. Alright. Back to the drawing board. Okay, everybody. We have the scarf. So ignore how disgustingly dirty this is, but you can see that there's a little hole up here that the collar goes through, and they just sewed it there. And so it has two sides to it. Like I said, this one has the two little flaps, super cute and adorable. But I don't think I'm gonna do that. And now that I'm looking at this, I can see that this top triangle, the one that I wanted to replicate, is off-centered. But I think it'll still work because I'll still get the general idea of how big this part is, and that's the most important part. So I'm gonna do some measurements really quick and figure out how I wanna make this bandana look. So we'll ignore this and we'll see how long this is and then decide how long we wanna make it. Good. So I have my rough measurements, and if you know me at all, you know that these will probably not stay the same. Only the ones that are important, like this one will stay the same, and this one will probably stay the same. I might just round this out to 10 inches because what's the point of it being 9 3/4? But it is what it is. So we'll probably just round this out to 10 because it's not important. So we'll just make it 10. And then this is 6.5 inches. That's the point. And I think I like that length on her. So you can see that most of this was covered up by fluff. So probably the first 3 inches are covered up by fluff. And then you see this part. So if I make it longer, you'd be able to see it more. But these are definitely more brightly colored than these. So I'm thinking that 6.5 is a good starter, and we'll decide if 6.5 is long enough for her fur. I'm gonna need to just test it on my model. All right, let's try that.
Here she comes. Here comes the bee. Here comes the bee. Yay! It's the bee. No, come here. Come here. No, come here. Why are you leaving? So sad. I just want to measure. Come here.
So I want it to go from yeah, the first 3 inches are covered up by fluff. So if I brought it out to 7 inches rather than 6.5, then it would be bigger. I think that's a good amount. What do you think, Coco Bee?
Do you think that's a good?
All right, so the decision has been made. We are going to change the point to be 7 inches long from this part, from the collar part. We're gonna make this 7 inches down, and it'll just come to a point like that. That's what we have. I don't like saying that I decided because it's a rough decision. Once I cut, who knows what's gonna happen. I'll cut whatever feels right. So now I have to go in and add my seam allowances to all of my original measurements in order to give myself a good amount. So let's get back to the drawing board. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna switch this to 7 inches. 7 inches, and we will add our seam allowance. So to get our final measurements, we're gonna add the seam allowance, and that comes out to seam allowance, add seam allowance. Okay, that's gonna come out to, oh, well, I guess I have to decide what my seam allowance is. Seam allowance is gonna be for this project, this is a really thick fabric. Let's see, what should we make the seam allowance? Can we do 1/4 inch? I think we can do 1/4 inch. We can get away with 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let's do that. Let's do 1/4 inch. That way it's an even half. So this would be 10.5 inches because you have to add the seam allowance here and the seam allowance here. And don't forget, this is all a hole right here for the collar to go through. Okay, so then we're also gonna add a seam allowance here, so that should be, actually, that would only be one seam up here because this is just going to be sewn through. So we'll just add another 1/4 of an inch. So that is 2 1/4. 2 1/4 inches because we only need one seam allowance right here. Then this one is going to come out to I don't know, because these are just going to be whatever they are. That's triangles equals a whole bunch of math, and that's math that I don't want to do right now. So we will do this as our plan. So let's get started. I think I want to follow this right here. So what if I did that? What if I followed this angular looking side? I need to shave down my soap so it looks a little bit better. That was a lot wider. Well, I guess our scarf is going to be wider since I decided that's what I want. Okay. I will follow this line. So sewing this right sides together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go in and hem these 1/4 inch in on the 2 inch mark. Yep, that's what I'm gonna, or not 2 inch, on the 2 inch side. I'm gonna have to sew these in by a 1/4 inch. I might iron. I haven't decided how thorough I'm gonna be yet, but if you want a good hem, ironing is your best bet. So I'm going to get started sewing. I'm gonna show you that trick for how to have a good even seam. So what I do is I technically have these markings on here, but it doesn't go down to a 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up a 1/4 inch on my sewing tape and line it up with the direct middle of the foot, and then line up the tape with the edge of the ruler. I hope that makes sense. That's how I do it. If anybody else has other ideas, they can let me know, but that's the only way that I've ever been able to make a straight seam. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually get started. Oh, this is all kind of crooked. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try not to mess this up. I'm going to open this and I'm going to press the seam flat and open, which in theory sounds really stupid because it's just going to go like this, but I'm going to do that because I can. And then I'm going to fold these. This is the 2 inch part. I'm going to fold these over so we don't have a live edge, and I'm going to fold those over and then do a top stitch right here to hem those off That way when I sew these together, they will be, you know, finished. I'm really good at talking. You'll see. You'll see. I am gonna get my iron out. I want this to look nice. But so far, looking pretty great. Okay, the light just went off, so I'm guessing that means it is ready. So I'm going to, press this seam open and hope that you have it on the right setting. I don't know, it looks pretty flat and I don't feel like I'm burning anything, so I think that means it's the right setting. And then now I'm going to also press this to be here, and that looks like it's about 1/4 of an inch, if you ask me. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Okay. Press it down, press it down, press it down. Yeah, we're just gonna have to hold that there for a minute. A nice little seam. I don't use the right lingo. I just say words, and y'all are just gonna have to get used to that. That looks good to me. I think. I don't really know. Perfect. Yeah. So now we're gonna go sew here and sew relatively close to the edge because we're just making sure that this stays down. So I'm thinking I'll just butt up the edge of the fabric right there on right here, and then it'll sew where I want it to down in the middle. I think that'll work. I don't really know what I'm doing. I used to know what I'm doing, but it's been so long since I've sewn for realsies. Let's start her. Ta-da! Beautiful. I know you can't see anything because I have terrible lighting in here. Alright, so I'm just lining up my right sides together to make sure everything's in line. And I'm not going to sew over this part again, the hole, this top part, the 2-inch part. I'm only going to sew up and around the angle and stop before I get, and I'm going to finish it off the edge. I'm not going to sew this part. Okay, I think that's obvious, but you never know. Let's switch back our feet. I'm going to use that again later, so I'll leave it off to the side. Switch back to my regular sewing foot. And actually try to follow the 1/4 inch mark that you made for yourself earlier. Backtrack and go. Continue. You can't really see this, but I'm just cutting the tip off of that triangle so that it lays flat when it's inside. And now, since we have these cute little holes right here, I think that I can just turn it inside out. Okay, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. That's kind of pointy. That's a rough point. Okay. Because it's a dog. It's rough. Let's try that. let's just sew up the last line right here and get my dog to model it. This is the finished product. Very cute, very stylish. I think I'm gonna like this side more on her because I feel like she's more of a geometrical shaped dog. Let's go get her all dressed up. Alright, you guys, I am like way too excited about this. This fits so well. Look at how cute it is. And it matches her collar. Oh, I'm so excited. This is gonna look so cute. Alright. Where is she? The star, the beauty, the one and only Corby. Hi there, princess. You wanna get your clothes on? You wanna get dressed? Look what I got. Come here, baby. Oh, you're gonna run away? Good girl. Look at how pretty you are. Oh, look. Okay, in hindsight, it's a little big, but oh my goodness. Look at you. Good girl. You want to show them your scarf? You want to show them your scarf? Look how pretty it is. Look how pretty it is. Yay. Wow, what a pretty girl. Oh goodness. Oh, thank you. She's like, this is not my side of the couch. Okay. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make a dog scarf just as much as she enjoys wearing it. It looks adorable. I think if I were to change anything, I probably would not have made it 12 inches. I would have only made it 10 inches because that kind of goes really far around her neck. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. Excuse you. But I think it looks adorable and she's fluffy enough for it to cover her and you can't tell. So I think it came out great. I love it. This is a very easy one-dayer. But anyway, thanks you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys on the next episode of DIY and Craftify.
Do you think 7 inches is a good amount for a scarf? Do you think 7 inches is good for a scarf? Alright, we'll do 7.
Not that that's a big change, but
Oh.